Hello, world! A wonderful day to all of you. Welcome to the Institute of Global Professionals. Thank you for joining us for another live session of free international webinar here in IGP. My lovely audience, I am Marbeth from the Philippines and I am honored to be your host of the day. I am so glad to be with you once again in this virtual world. There is one thing that we should be thankful about during this pandemic period is I think it's the opportunity that it provides for all of us to gather virtually through this international free webinar brought to us by the Institute of Global Professionals, or IGP. I hope that everyone will stay with us until the end of the program because we have a lot of things in store for you today. Here in IGP webinars, you do not just listen to our speakers, but we encourage your participation to our quiz competition and the Q&A part of the program. In our quiz competition, the top 10 participants will receive their quiz completion certificate that is right after the event. Then it will be followed by the Q&A part where everyone will have the opportunity to interact with our speakers by sending in your questions in the comments section below. During our live show, there will be questions displayed on your screen. This will allow you to interact or share your opinion about the topic being discussed or the topic that has been discussed in our previous session. Simply share your idea in the comments section. Every day during our live session, we award Certificate of Lifetime Membership to the most active and consistent participant. So, what are you waiting for? Share this live event to your friends and to your communities. Write your comments and feedback in the comments section. Who knows who could be you could be the next recipient of our Certificate of Lifetime Membership. In the latter part of the program, we will give you the certification code together with the certification process on how you can generate or auto-download your e-certificate. With this, everybody is encouraged to stay with us until the end of the program because a lot of exciting things awaits us today. I am sure all of us will have many e-takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. That is only from IGP. I'm proud to tell you that every day, many new participants are joining with us. So I am compelled to give you a little background about IGP. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institution which provides social work. We believe that it is not effective to increase one's skill by just acquiring formal education. So we provide training and consultation to generate a proficient generation through webinars, trainings, offline and online courses with best speakers and highly trained coaches from all over the world to cater you with the best learning platform. I'm proud to inform you that IGP is an ISO certified training education institute. We are internationally recognized and globally accredited. IGP is your trusted platform to learn new things from the global leading leaders. We are the leading online skill development institution with thousands of learners worldwide. Our mission is to empower people and enhance their skills through webinars. Most importantly, we are committed to serve. IGP is bringing the community of professionals to grow together and learn from each other. Here in IGP, learning never stops. We wish that you remain with us in this endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I would like to take this opportunity once again to welcome all of you to the Institute of Global Professionals Free International Webinar. Once again, I am Marbeth, a core volunteer of IGP from the Philippines. I am so privileged to host today's webinar. With this, I would like to say let's watch together and learn together. We believe that the power is gained by sharing knowledge, not by hoarding it. And did you know that as of yesterday, we have already successfully completed 339 webinars in various topics of your interest? All of these are available on our website, that is www.eduigp.com. Again, that's www.eduigp.com. Feel free to access them anytime. We expect that all of you are getting a little bit benefited both in your personal and professional life. From time to time, you may like, share, tag your friends, and write comments. Share us how you feel about IGP and what you think about IGP. You may also share us how IGP is being helpful to you both in your personal and professional development. Also, don't hesitate to ask questions or write feedback. You may also give suggestions that will help us innovate the program in the comment section below. All of these will be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube channel. Make sure to click the bell button below to be notified with our live streaming every day. Please support us by spreading the news about IGP's free international webinar to your friends and community. Your support is highly appreciated. Thank you so much. And before proceeding to our program, please allow me to greet some of our active participants from our FB Live and YouTube channel streaming. Hello and warm greetings to our early bird today, Mr. Rodolfo Alemania, and also to Alex Javier Alvarez. Hello to Anne and Asherto. Hello to Sir Zabiluha Arab. Hi to Krisja Alegam. And then to Bernardo R. Guevara Jr. Hello, sir. A.K. Adhikari, how are you doing? Joy Grace Castro and Domingo Agatap. To Rocky Jr. Kalurakan Agatan, hello. And then also to Evelyn Pascual and also to Lance Mark Relova. Also to Bernardo Guevara, shout out to all of you. And also to Mondares F. Ronaldin. Greetings to all the active participants of the IGP's daily webinar. Happy watching, everyone. Hello and happy watching to all of you. Without further ado, let's start our program with the IGP's mantra. Feed your skills, innovate, inspire, impact. For today, we are presenting the webinar number 314. And indeed, we are very much privileged to have with us today two eminent personalities as our resource speaker, one from United Kingdom and another one from United States. They will be discussing about the impact of good leader in the society. They are Coach MJ Tolan from United States, and we also have Harpal Singh from United Kingdom. At this juncture, I would like to introduce to you our first speaker. He is Coach MJ Tolan from United States. He is a coach, an American author, speaker, an entrepreneur, a world-class workshop facilitator, and a humanitarian leader. Let's welcome on the screen Coach MJ Tolan.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Good evening, sir. Or good morning in your place. It's good evening here in the Philippines.
It's good. It's good to be there. Hello, Po. How are you, Po? Salamat.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, would you like to say something about yourself or add something about yourself before we proceed to your presentation?
Well, I think I will take the opportunity to say a little bit because leadership has been a big topic of mine for decades. Growing up in a big family, you learn a lot about leadership. Um, Being in a company as a founder and growing that company into the several vertical markets, which I did, you learn a lot about what not to do in leadership and what you should do. So leadership has really been a big cause of mine. And for the last 15 years, I founded the World Class Institute for Leadership and Innovation. And we are privileged to have joined this platform to be able to share a few ideas with all of you today about what I think really matters when it comes to leadership and how good leadership can impact society in a positive way. So, by the way, I have my presentation DJ uh, is in the UK, and he's going to be taking signals from me so we can run the presentation through today. So thank you in advance for that, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Harp.
Yes, we are so privileged to have you today here in IGP, sir. Well, take it away. The
Okay,
floor is
so
yours.
right, so what I'd like for you to do is to think about all the people that you know about today who are in leadership positions. Normally, they're either in government, so they would be elected officials, or they would be spiritual leaders, or they might be somebody that you admire in the hip hop space or the Britney Spears campaign of artists who have made an impact somehow. And then you have other types of leaders who might be either community leaders or just people who stand out. They haven't been elected, they haven't been appointed, but somehow or another that people look up to them, and there are reasons for that. And I'd like to see how we dovetail into this today, because without some type of a moral compass guiding a society, societies have a tendency to get lost in the chaos and somehow are not able to cohesively bring together people without some sort of a harmful authoritarian rule, which has been horribly um, tried and tested over and over again in our history, where we've seen dictators come through and through their horrific way that they have behaved, millions and millions and millions of innocent people have lost their lives simply because there wasn't a good steward, a good leader to stand in the way and put things right. So I think it's really, really important that we seek out the good leaders in our society, that we foster the study of good leadership, that we embrace exemplary leadership in our daily lives, in our companies. I'm certainly an advocate for leadership in corporate um, environments, because being bossy is not necessarily being a leader. They're two different animals, and I'd like to think that a leader, a good leader, is able to exert a particular type of influence which galvanizes groups of people together so that they want to find the best ways for themselves, and through possibly a little bit of a nudge, it could be encouragement or inspiration, it could be um, anything that's going to ignite their fuse to get them really going. So I think that that in itself is where I really wanted to take this talking point on today. And as I move forward with the next slide, just to remind you of what leadership really is. Yeah. So next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah. So I've just talked about this, what I really think the whole essence of this leadership is. And just in a microcosm, if I look back in my own organizations, sometimes my managing directors in certain country markets, they were in charge. And yet, when I would go visit those countries, markets, I would ask a number of questions and to my staff, and they would say, "Well, no, I'd ask so and so this question. So and so knows this question, and so was not a member of the board, was not a member of the management team. So and so was just someone who everyone trusted, and that trust was earned, and she was person was not paid for their role. Somehow or another, they had just earned that trust and gained that influence. So again, leadership is a wonderful cocktail of influence, and if it's good leadership, then it's good positive influence, which can nurture an ecosystem, nurture a company, nurture a township, village, a country, or a world. Okay, let's move forward. So, when I talk about leadership to corporations, and I do some of the workshops that I do, I often ask everyone to take a piece of paper and write down five leaders that they really feel were the most horrible, had the most horrible impact on this world. And sometimes um, I will ask them to write those names down, and very often, you see Hitler will come up. Very often, Joseph Stalin will come up. Sometimes he comes up. and others come up. And the fact is that there are some terrible examples of leaders who've had a horrible impact on our society. And it's good for us to learn from these examples so that we'll appreciate what separates the good leaders from the ones who are certainly not. And so, with this, I'd like to point out that some of these leaders that we'll just highlight a few minutes today. It's a very deep conversation, it's a very deep topic. But as we get into this, some of these leaders were elected, that's for sure, and some of them we'll see how they were galvanized by the events of the day. Sometimes leaders will emerge from a crisis, and they will be the evident leader. There was one that came to my mind this morning, um, right in the late 1980s, when the Soviet Union had a grip on all of these Baltic nations, and some of these Baltic nation rabble rousers. One of them was working in a dockyard in the northern part of Poland in Gdansk, and he was pushing back against the communist rule. He was pushing back against the policies. He was pushing back against workers' policies, and to the point whereby he became recognized, his name became famous, and this was right before the Berlin Wall fell. His name was Lech Walesa. He was simply a dock worker who went on to become the first elected president of Poland. And he became a leader because through the crisis, through this struggle that the workers were having, he emerged as a spokesperson and as a leader, and then as a beloved father of a new nation. And so the story can go to so many different countries throughout history where we can find these leaders and name them. We can honor Winston Churchill and Theodore Roosevelt in the Americas, but there are so many others around the world. Okay, let's move forward. So, yes, it's important for us to have that, understand the balance, because there are leaders who are feared because they have the authority. And there are leaders who are revered who were never elected, but they are beloved. And they seem to have a tremendous amount of influence. Let's just go to our first one here and see. I have an example of a few leaders here I'd just like to highlight this morning. Next slide, please. Here we go. So my own mother had the privilege of working out in Pune and Calcutta, and met Mother Teresa many years ago, helping Sisters of Charity give people an opportunity to die with dignity. That was their mission at the time. And this, very tenacious Albanian sister who had nothing to gain in popularity. She was not looking for notoriety. She had won some awards. Even I remember she had won a Cadillac or some very expensive car, which she immediately gave to the poor, sold it, and used the money to give back. She wasn't interested in any way in materialism or in titles or in anything else except making an effort for herself to give back and using herself as an example for others to follow. Now, today, we know her as Saint Teresa. And what can we learn from Saint Teresa? I think her mission, her vision, her example was service, to give of yourself, to give service, to give every ounce of yourself to others. And this was the best way that you could behave in this world. And from that, she elevated herself, not because she had wanted to. It just happens that that's how it is. When you have someone doing so much more than anyone else, you make a difference. And she called it the ripple effect. And all of you who are attending this webinar today can also participate in the same ripple effect by making a difference today. Well, anybody that you talk to or anybody that you impact, if it's a positive impact, you're making a positive point in the pond of the ripple effect. And so this was her life's work. And I think she's a great example of how someone so charitable, so honorable, so giving can make an impression on a society, in fact, on the entire world. And she has done that, and she will continue to do that in the afterlife as well as when she was here on earth. So that's my primary example of a good leader making a positive impact on society. Let's go to the next slide, please. And here, how could we talk about leadership and good impressions on society without talking about Mahatma Gandhi? You know, his struggles in the early days in Africa, and then how he went up against an incredibly the most powerful military presence in the world. The British had dominated the world, and here he was fighting them with a walking stick and tenacity and vigor and conviction. And this was what made him so special and so very difficult to contain, because no matter how many times he had been beaten, no matter how many times he'd been arrested, no matter how many times he'd been degraded, he never, ever, ever let up. He was relentless. And through his moral teachings and his policies and practices of nonviolence, he rose above the fray. He rose above the normal everyday I slap you, you slap me. No, he was nonviolent. He made a difference. He calmed the world and allowed them to see a whole different perspective about himself, about the people of India, and he changed the world. And he says, be the leader that you would like to see in the world. Be the change that you would like to see in the world. Great example. And his legacy continues today. Next slide, please. This beloved leader who spent 3 decades or more on Robben Island as a prisoner, who was heckled and abused and beaten and trampled upon, not just physically, but his reputation and everything else, was offered every week. You can get out, you can come out if you'll just renounce this, if you'll just renounce that, if you'll just, in other words, renounce your principles, which he refused to do. And he held out almost in a Christ like manner. He came out of prison. And when he did not look for revenge. He set up committees where they would get together and reconcile all the damages that apartheid had done and the suffering that had happened. And he embraced his former enemies as brothers so that they could work together hand in hand to rebuild a better today, because there was nothing they could do about yesterday. And there's nothing that we as people can do about what happened yesterday. A lot of us have been through so many changes since the pandemic had happened, and some of us have lost people, dear ones, family members, jobs, houses, so many things. We've completely disrupted our lives. And yet, we look at these leaders that we're talking about today, and others which will be discussed. They made a difference because somewhere in their DNA, they had a mission. Somewhere in their mindset, in their heart of hearts, they had a vision. And their vision was to hold on for something better, for something greater, because they knew that it was not about them. It was about the other people that they were wanting to serve. And this feeling, this unity of service is what I believe makes these leaders great and so impactful for our societies today. So Nelson Mandela, big salute in heaven. Next slide, please. We just celebrated here in the United States recently the birthday of Martin Luther King. And as we do every year now since his death, we have learned to embrace more of the teachings and his strategies. And wow, just imagine what a life he had, uh, cursed by the color of his skin, apparently, in those days, beaten because of the color of his skin, ridiculed, death threats, um, just an incredible amount, insurmountable amount of why you should never get out of bed, why you should hide. But he never did that. He would get up, he would move, he would galvanize people, he would write speeches, he would march, he would preach. He was relentless, and he assembled a civil rights movement in a country which had not yet healed from its own civil war fought more than 100 years before. Martin Luther King had the courage to, and the dignity, and the integrity, and the character to be able to not be silent, but be the voice of millions who had been oppressed and whose time had come. And through his leadership, through his courage, through his nonstop, relentless, unbelievable, keep on keeping on, he made an impact in his life and unfortunately in his death. But still today, his life is celebrated, and so are his principles, and so are the wisdom that he shared. So is the wisdom that he shared with all of us. Thank you. Next slide. It would be remiss of me to not to mention this particular leader, because John F. Kennedy, of course, was one of the most outstanding leaders of the 20th century in the United States and famous around the world. And I brought up this quote because that's what we're all doing in this webinar today. We're learning. And he's famous for saying that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. They're connected. Leaders are learners. And so when you are taking any steps to go forward to improve yourself, to improve your present situation, your knowledge, anything that you have to grab a hold of that's going to make you a better person or more competent, then you are taking one of the points out of his book. To become a better leader is to become a more fervent learner. So that's what I have to say there. And here we go. Next, our final slide. I'm going to read this because I wrote it. The great examples of the past will hopefully inspire our future leaders to positively impact our society for generations to come. The great examples can be you, because as Mother Teresa said, anyone can make a move by making the first step, by making a ripple in the pond. Take action today. Thank you so much for your time.
That was actually a very remarkable presentation, sir. About it's all about the good leaders that impacted the whole world. Once again, thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us and sharing your knowledge. We'll be seeing you again in the Q&A part of this program. For the meantime, you have to stay at the backstage. Is that
Thank you.
okay?
Sure.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, this time I would like to call our second speaker. He is a powerful and energetic speaker from the United Kingdom. He is Leonie Chairman, community leader, head author of Domestic Abuse, counselor, mentor, advocate of families, global change maker, and a global leader. At this juncture, I would like to invite on screen Sir Harpal Singh. Let's welcome him with another virtual round of applause. Hello, sir. Okay, before we proceeding to your presentation, you would probably want to share something about yourself. I think you're muted, sir. Excuse me.
Am I? You hear me now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity and sharing the platform with Coach. It's a great honour to be such in this esteemed position, but also impacting leaders. I've had many leaders who've impacted me in my life, and I like to dedicate this to them for all their work they've done and bringing positivity to me. One of my greatest success is actually writing a book called The First Step, and I had a great leader, mentor, who actually helped me do this. And behind every successful person, there is a great person, a great leader, and a great example here. So I'll talk more about what I do in my presentation as well. So we'll go from there. So yeah,
Sir, seeing the audience is yours.
thank you very much. So today I'm talking about the impact of a great or a good leader in society. Coach Nolan has kind of read my script and said most of what I was going to say in the first place. But never mind. I will try and do as best as I can. But following a great leader as Coach Nolan, it's going to be very, very hard. So please forgive me if I'm not as good as Coach Nolan, but I'll try my best. So my name is Dr. Harbal Singh Chatwal. I work in a number of different areas. I'm the author of the book The First Lap, a qualified accredited counselor and psychotherapist, and helped over hundreds of people in the professional psychological support while working in the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK, charities and private settings. I've been the head of domestic violence services for London, helping support families, local governments with the issues for over the last 4 years. I've been consulting with several charities, Loney, Lady of All Nations International, Inspiring Women, Alcohol Free Seeks, and I've given directions on understanding the field of mental health, domestic violence, and intergenerational dialogue. I've mentored a number of mentor and role model to a number of students from the BME community gain access to university and into the world of mental health. So, what makes a great leader is a question. But first, we need to find out who is our leaders. Leaders are not just simply made. Are leaders born or are they made? You run a family, you lead that family. You run a team at work, you are a leader. You help kids in coaching, in football, basketball, soccer, baseball, you name it, you're leading them. So the question comes, are leaders born or leaders made? And that might be one of the questions that admin puts up on the thing to find out what people think, and we'll discuss that towards the end. Leader is anyone who guides a common goal, showing them by the way by example. So it could be someone who's actually done the work before, like Coach Nolan, he coaches and leads a lot of people. Or it could be someone as a friend getting together and working together on a common project, common performance, or even a homework piece. Leadership is the ability of a superior to influence the behavior and the subordinates and persuade them to follow a particular course of action. You're looking at people like politicians. You're looking at global leaders. You're talking about businessmen. You're talking about people who can lead and persuade people to follow actions that can be positive and be negative, but also make the ability to make his subordinates work with confidence and zeal, passion and understanding. Because if you can get someone to work with you with passion and understanding, they'll work faster for you, better. Ultimately, a leader is someone who has a high level of intelligence with sound education, technical background. A lot of the times, leaders are those who are experts in the areas. Emotionally stable will not lose their temper at any instance. Understand human behavior, their needs, emotions, etc., and deal with all people. And that's ultimately what a leader is, someone who takes forward and goes forward. He understands the views of others and should not do this on his own way. He's balanced, has understanding. He oversees things, or her. Not only self-motivated, but also motivated by the followers. He listens, he hears, he acts. He shouldn't intimidate the work he has and create availability. He will be able. When guys, just for obviously, if I use the word he, I'm meaning he as a human, as both male and female. A leader should be able to judge anything that for actions and goods. He must take the decisions from responsibilities and be a decision maker. Key word here is responsibilities. And responsibilities are not for just when things go right, but when things go wrong. A good guide to his subordinates, his co-workers, his people who work under them, and demonstrate what they are. Leaders of faith, leaders of politics, leaders in business, leaders in work. Also, a leader should have attractive or pleasing personality with dignity behavior. Behavior is quite key here. Actions and reactions. It should be honorable and sincere. And also let people grow. Let people leave the people that will carry on to do the work. Sometimes you get leaders who micromanage. Does that make them good managers? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's about interacting and using judgments to make sure that your work, your business, your schemes are fulfilled. Types of leaders. Okay, so we've got leaders such as managers. Do things right. That's somehow what leaders do say. Managers do say, but leaders do the right thing. It's the same words. Do things right, doing right things. And you get different types of leaders. You've got autocrats, leaders who make decisions without reference to anyone else, high sense of dependency on the leader. And then you've got you've got a demotivating, alienate staff. And this may be valuable in some instances where decisions need to be made quickly and decisively. And you've got the Democrat leader, he encourages, sees them from different perspective, consults before making decisions. For those who know, you got Sir Arthur. He was one of his King Arthur. One of his biggest thing was that he created the round table. He created a round table so everyone's view on that discussion is equal. Normally, you get square train. If you go to board meetings, you've got oblong-shaped tables, and the head sits at the front, and everyone's got their own rights and says. But King Arthur created a round table where everyone on there was equal. There was no hierarchy. There was no one low. Everyone was equal. And sometimes you've got to take that approach in management. Everyone can be equal at the right time. So, best qualities of leadership. Leadership in simple terms, leading in characteristics, leading as qualities of a leader, leadership empowerment, the leadership roles, the ingredients of a leader, a successful leader, but also the understanding of what is a successful leader. So leadership in simple terms, okay, it's basically understanding the vision, directly enabling others to cooperate in achieving that vision. So Lumberward in 2001 said leadership has the ability to direct people, more importantly to have those people accept that direction. We also have okay, so leadership is not about memorizing techniques or devising a perfect game plan like a coach does. It's about taking the opportunity, paying attention to people and really believing them, really caring about them, really getting involved. I'm going to give you an example of a let's say a baseball match or a American football match or a soccer match, and you've got a captain who's a leader, but you've got a manager who manages that leader. Things are down, you've got 20 minutes left and you're 2-0 down in the game. You had a plan to man mark, to have these people in there, and then this is a time when the leader makes dividends. He changes the pack, he gets his substitutes out, gets them ready, changes the formation and forwards the plan to win. You've all seen loads of football matches when it's really, really close and then the manager makes a key decision. He changes the formation, he changes the personnel, he changes direction. And with that change, he wins. He's successful. Some leaders don't like taking changes. They're not good leaders. Someone don't understand the vision. People don't directly enable others to work with that achievement. But great leaders have that vision. They enable, they allow, and they let them grow. Leadership is about, in essence, motivating, inspiring, talking to people in greater heights, lifting that person, getting that piece of coal and making it into a fine diamond, working with participants on how they can help themselves figure out what and why, encourage them to push themselves forward to achieve the highest possible action, the performance. Leadership is about action, enabling, not telling, not shouting, talking to the person, walking the walk alongside them. You can never put yourself in their shoes, but you can walk with them in that journey. And that's what leadership is about. It's momentum, it's inspiring, it's helping, it's communication, encouragement, enabling, and above all, going with that person, not just sending him off or her off in that position. So, McDonald in 2000 said leadership skills are enabling direction, structure of the group by clear vision, charisma, enabling motivation, enthusiasm, making a difference, people-oriented skills, skillful coordinating, building character, and empathy. Empathy is clear here. Empathy is not sympathy. Empowering people. Transberth and Collins, 1994, talks about vision and passion, strong communication skills, being a role model, having integrity and honesty, being organized. Organized is key here. If a leader is not organized, he hasn't got the views, he doesn't understand the critical path, he or she will not be able to fulfill what needs to be done. Being precise, sharp, on the ball. It's quite key qualities of leaders. I'm just wondering, all those who are watching this platform, what leadership qualities do you have? Do you have anything from McDonald or Trentworth and Collins? Have what they said resonated with you? Are you honest? Are you organized? Have you got those people skills? Can you build character? Have you got empathy? Hinkinson in 2001 says, to build leadership, the leader has to enable participants independently so they can perform with freedom and autonomy to inform decisions without the leader around. I wonder how many times we've been in positions where we relax when we're at work or a place of worship, wherever it is, and the main leader or the manager is not in the office or at the workplace or wherever it is, and we chill out. I've done this when I was younger and going for training. The coach turns his back or coach says go somewhere else. We're chilling out. We're not doing the laps around the circuit. But how many leaders inspire us so when he's not there or she's not there, we're able to continue with the training, continue with that dedication. And that makes a true leader. Leadership empowerment from an anonymous speaker says a good leader inspires people to have confidence in their leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. I want that to sink in for a moment there. A good leader inspires people to have confidence in their leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. The leadership role. A good leader is a teacher. He doesn't put people down who are working with him, and he gets the most out of people who work with them. Working with the frameworks of the rules, not cheating, not being dishonest, not being fraudulent. Hard work, determination, and understanding. John C. Maxwell says a leader is one who only knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Very powerful stuff there from John Maxwell. So, what's the ingredients of a successful leader? According to Lee and King in 2001, creating and practicing values, developing committed followers, development, creation, practice, inspiring lofty accomplishments, Models of models appropriate behavior, focusing on important issues, connecting the group to the outside. If I take the keywords out of Lee and King in 2001, create, develop, inspire, focus, connect. Says it all, guys. Very successful leaderships. Do you guys have that create, that develop, that inspire, focus, and connect? What are the ingredients are important to be a successful leader that we've talked about today? It's not about what you think, it's about what you do with that. That's important. So, adapted from Hinkinson in 2001, successful leaders get the most out of participants and enable them to learn. How? How to lead and follow a team, how to make good decisions, not being afraid to fail. Character values, how to be successful leaders and people, and to be the best that they can. One thing I like about Hinkinson Hare in 2001 is the ability not to fail, or the ability not to be afraid to fail. A lot of the times when we have leaders and things don't go right, things go wrong, they fail. They don't inspire to be successful and work out from there. Failure is the short form of success. If you don't fail, if you fail and don't do the thing again, that's total failure. If you fail but inspire yourself to do better, change your thinking, change your understanding, change your principles, change your thought process, that will lead to success. Focus. I'm going to talk to you about a few leaders here of good qualities. You've got Indira Gandhi here leading India, Adolf Hitler. For those who didn't know, Adolf Hitler was the German leader of Second World War. He wasn't even German, he was Polish. And for those who say leaders are, they shouldn't be, they they have certain characteristics. If you can lead a nation, if you can make them follow who and what they are, they will do success. We've got Bill Gates here. And for those who don't know Bill Gates, he used to own Microsoft. Bill Gates, as an individual, failed many, many times, but he never gave up. He used to work for IBM as a product developer, and he told them about Windows. They laughed at him. They laughed at it so much. Now he's one of the biggest IT providers in software in the world. His company Microsoft is literally on everyone's fingertips. Everyone computers runs Microsoft. Oprah Winfrey went through domestic violence and abuse. Most successful woman in America now. Abdul Kalam, the president of India. Alex Ferguson with Manchester United. He was at Aberdeen and wasn't a great player, but yet he's one of the most successful Premier League footballers managers in the whole of the UK. Merkel, Johnson, Malaya Yousaf, Brandt, all successes in their wonderful areas, all leaders, all passionate about what they do. I've got to mention a very special lady here, Caroline Makaka. Professor Caroline Makaka. She's also an inspiring leader. She's helped me in doing most of what I do. So a big thank you to her for being a quality leader in my life. It's about recognizing these leaders, about understanding these guys, whether positive or negative, have been leaderships, and they have certain leadership skills. The ability to control, the focus, to show a vision, but not to show a vision, but go through the vision. Leaders can be negative and positive, but a true leader will always make sure that they see the best in you. When you become a leader, you ought to be on the inside. You'll be able to become the person you want to be outside. So internal, external. People want to follow you, and they see what happens. You're able to tackle the world. Leaders nowadays are not just those in your workplace. You've got influencers. With social media increase, you've got loads of leaders who tell people what to do. Followers. You've got people with 2 million followers, 20 million followers. People who are leaders not because of what they do, but how they talk, how they explain, or sometimes what they do and how they interact with culture entertainment, and fashion. True leaders will put the welfare of the group in front of theirs, and especially ahead of their own interests. And that's critical. The welfare of the group, the team. A general of an army can't do the work himself of fighting the war. He needs each and every one of his comrades, his people, his army to do the work. And that's key to know. One person can't do everything, but a team collectively can. Great leaders enhance institutions capable by achieving others of achieving greatness. When we go through training, boot camp, when we do have to laps, we don't like it. I didn't like it when I used to play cricket and I used to be told to do laps around here or fielding practice and running and this. But these are the key elements of a leader to get us used to as the true real life as can be. Inspirations, the motivators, and the people that will actually help us on the way. And when we're down, they'll be there to pick us up. Alongside that, they establish and create strategies, ensure effective and efficiency, communicate often and openly, build solid relationships, act with integrity and fairness, provide counsel and direction, motivate, coach, and develop. And what the coaches and leaders do, they produce results, meet objectives, and importantly, exceed goals. When I saw this first time, it made me laugh because a lot of leaders do this. Any leaders can get the work done by barking orders. In this clip here by Scott Adams, it's called Dilbert. You got a manager and his employee. I'll read it out to you and see if you can get this. How's the old job market lately? It's pretty bad, isn't it? The next slide goes, no, so no matter how hard I make it for you, work is still better than being unemployed. The next slide he goes, who's your leader? Go on, say it. And the employee goes, you are. It's incredible how negative leaders will make you feel bad, unproductive, and above all, demotivated. Demotivated time that you think to yourself, I might as well be unemployed. The stress is the strain of a leader not acting in your best interest, not making you productive. It's only going to ruin you and not make you the way that you should be. Okay. Alongside with good motivators is about communication. Simplify your message. It's not what you say, but how you say it. Really care about your audience. Care about your people. Show the truth. Believe in what you say. Live in what you say. Seek response. The goal of communication is action. Action and reaction. Quality leaders possess to make things happen. They know what they want. They can push themselves to act. They take more risks. They make more mistakes. Remember, if you could dream it, you can do it. And a true leader is that who dreams it and makes it happen. Guys, I want to say a big thank you to all of you for listening in. If you have any questions, I'll be staying back to the end. And if you want to contact me, my details are at the bottom of the screen here. So Dr. Harpal Singh Chhatwal, you can find me on www.cwcounseling.com. So thank you very much.
That was actually very interesting discussion, Dr. Singh. I'm sure that the audience have gained extensive insight about today's webinar, the impact of good leader in the society. That was actually jam-packed of useful and interesting information. No doubt our viewers have benefited from today's webinar, and the knowledge you've shared will be useful to our audience. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Harpal Singh, for sparing your time with us, and we will see you in the Q&A part. Okay?
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
To my dear audience, let me remind you, don't forget to like, share, tag your friends, and also write comments. Remember that your attachment encourages us to do better and provide you with our best service. Thank you for your support. And we will give the e-certificate link in the comment box, and if you encounter any problem, you can collect your e-certificate direct from our website, that is www.eduigp.com. And after collecting your e-certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP by your check-in. At this moment, we will now proceed to our live quiz competition. Afterwards is the Q&A part. I'd like to encourage everyone to join our live competition at slido.com. And our code is IGP quiz, or you may just scan the QR code on your screen to quickly join the quiz competition. In the meantime, let's enjoy watching this short video. There you have it. I could already see lots of participants joining. Everyone, you may join our quiz competition at slido.com. Just you, or you may use the QR code flash on your screen, and our code is IGP quiz. Come on, guys. This will be fun. The top 10 participants will receive the quiz completion certificate, that is right after the event. Okay, let's just give a minute or two to allow all the participants to join in our live quiz. Let me greet some of our participants here. Hello, Nico Dan Asmiro, Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, Cherry Liao. Hello to Alex Javier Alvarez, to Marisa Velasco, also to Mikey, to Juliet Mendiola, to Elias Austria, Leslie Alfonso, Marvic V. Clavesilia, Leah Facunla, to Ma'am Amelita. Hello, everyone. Good luck to all of you. We have now 50 participants in our quiz. Okay. Question number 1. What does a good leader possess? Is it the ability to inspire, or one who has not a can-do personality? "100% answered ability to inspire, and that is the correct answer. On our leaderboard, we have Ginalyn Resurrection, followed by Lucelle Gabaldon, and next is Dimalyn Rivera. Next question. An important court decision that has a big impact on the society is called a or an brief or landmark. Landmark is the correct answer, and 71% of the participants answered correctly. On our leaderboard, we still have Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, followed by Ginalyn Resurrection again, and then Eglatina Sihu. Next question is positive and negative actions that may impact your place in the cycle of death and rebirth. Is it karma or samsara? 82% of the participants answered karma, and that is the correct answer. On our leaderboard, we still have Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, followed by Eglatina Sihu, and then Leia Saria. Next question. The leader of the Catholic Church, is it Pope or priest? %93 answered Pope. And that is the correct answer. Still, we have Ginalyn Villar Resurrection on top one, followed by Ginalyn V Resurrection and Eglatina Sehu. Question number 5. This leader was the first conqueror and leader of an empire. Is it Sargon of Akkad or Darius first? Sargon of Akkad is the correct answer, and only 37% of the participants were able to get the correct answer. Okay, on our leaderboard, we have Eglatina Sehu as rank 1, followed by Ginalyn Villar Resurrection and Romel Jans Aquino on the third. Next question. The Industrial Revolution began in, is it Great Britain or Russia? Great Britain is the correct answer. 78% of the participants got it correctly. And then on our leaderboard, we have Eglatina Sehu, followed by Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, and then Romel Jansi Aquino. Next question. Who is the leader of Germany during World War I? Is it President Woodrow Wilson or Kaiser Wilhelm II? Correct answer is Kaiser Wilhelm II, and only 60% of the participants were able to get the correct answer. And on our leaderboard, we still have Eglatina Sihu, followed by Ginaline Villar, Resurrection, and then Mikey Leonardo. We are now on question number 8. What will happen to the Creek leader Macintosh? He will be murdered by his own people for signing the treaty, or he will be arrested for resisting the USA. He will be murdered by his own people for signing the treaty. 67% of the participants got the correct answer. On our leaderboard, we still have Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, followed by Mikey Leonardo, and then Eglatina Sifu. And now we are now on question number 9. The leader of the judicial branch is called the president, or is it president or chief justice? The correct answer is Chief Justice. 95% of the participants get the correct answer. On the leaderboard, we have Ginalyn Villar Resurrection, followed by Mikey D. Leonardo, and then Eglatina Sihu. And for our last question, who was the leader of Ghana's independence movement? Is it Kwame Nkrumah or Mao Zedong? Nkrumah or Mao Zedong? The correct answer is Kwame Nkrumah, and only 77% of the participants got it correctly. Congratulations to our top 10 participants. Okay. So, congratulations to the following. First is Ginalyn Villar Resurrection. Number 2 is Mikey Leonardo. Number 3 is Romel Chan Aquino. Number 4 is Eglatina Sehu. May I see the next number, please? Number 5 is Leia Saria. Number 6 is Romel Hernandez. Number 7 is Lamberto Pilatan Jr. Number 8 is Rodolfo Alemania. And number 9 is Nicoden Esmiro. And the last is Carmela B. Haen. Congratulations to our top 10 participants of our quiz competition. You will be receiving your e-certificate of quiz completion in a little while. It will be posted in our Facebook page. Again, congratulations to all of you. We will now move to the Q&A part of the program. You may start sending your questions now, but for the meantime, please enjoy watching this short video. Okay. Okay, once again, let's welcome back our two speakers for today, Coach MJ Tolan from United States and Dr. Harpal Singh from United Kingdom. To our audience, you may start sending your questions now. Okay, for our first question, we have it from Marife B. Timbag. Being a leader, which role is more challenging, doing things right or doing right thing? Who would like to answer this first?
Horrible.
It depends, because it depends on where you are, what you're doing in things. So there is no thing as a challenging role, because every role being a leader is a challenge. From being a coach to heading a CEO or being a CEO of a legal organization, it's about for me, it's about doing the right things and getting it right first time round, but also inspiring those to go through it. For me as a challenging role is to get people on your side, people to see your vision, people to see your understanding, but most importantly, people to actually understand what is going on. Because sometimes you can see till tomorrow, till next week. And some people can only, and you need to see them for a year, 2 years, 3 years from here. So it's about challenging them to actually challenge the perspective. Coach Nolan, what's your thoughts?
Uh, 50-50. Yeah, I'm going to have to chime in with your answer there. It's a very subjective question and a very particular answer. The leaders, first of all, don't win prizes for being right. They have to make decisions all day long, and very often there's decisions that cannot be popular with everyone. Um, I used to say, and I think I read this somewhere years ago, and I kept it. It said, if you want to make everybody happy, don't be a leader. Sell ice cream.
Even then, when you're selling ice cream, you got leadership skills there that you need as well. Where do
Yeah,
you pitch? How do you
yeah,
pitch? What do
right.
you
Yeah, yeah.
charge?
Hey, I'm allergic to nuts.
Okay, we have our question number two from Bernardo Guevara. In a few months, Philippines will choose a new set of leaders. How to choose a good leader? Could you give
Coach,
us
your turn.
advice?
Sure. First of all, congratulations to the Philippines for your elections coming up, and I hope that you're able to choose the right leader for you, for your country. And asking me that question, how do you go about choosing the right leader? I know that in many other countries, uh, their leadership politics are based on who's popular, who has a popular name, who has a popular father or grandfather, and so a lot of elections are based on those types of characteristics. And for me, if you ask me this question, since we're talking about leadership here today, I would ask you the question: who do you think would do the right thing for the people of the Philippines? Who do you think is not so interested in growing their own wealth and popularity, but growing the prosperity of the citizens of the Philippines? If you can find this type of a leader within the candidates that are being offered, then I would certainly look to encourage you to back that particular one. I know of a few names myself personally, and this is not about politics today. It's about, how does a leader, how do we find our leaders? We find our leaders through their values. So find out what the leader that you want to vote for values the most, and if it aligns with yours, then cast your vote accordingly.
Dr. Singh?
I'm going to add on to what Coach has said. It's about choosing leaders. You start with the character of the person, character of what they've done, their track record. Leaders aim to influence and persuade others to do something of their own free will. Leaders will not be affected if they don't do what they say. So be choosing them according to their track record, who they are. Um, it's about meeting the needs of the country. And do you think this person can lead your country, the Philippines, going forward? Meeting the needs of the people, meeting the needs of the agriculture. And you need to really wonder if the leader is interacting properly with you, if that leader is meeting those needs, if they have authority, if they can talk the talk, walk the walk, and lead. A lot of the times, discharging responsibilities is what some leaders do, or pass it on. COVID being a fine example, where a lot of leaders don't know what to do, so they pretend. And when leaders pretend to not do what they want to do, they fail. So one thing I will do is to see which candidate is accountable for their actions, the decisions, and their performances.
Okay, that's very great. First is the value and then the character. Our next question is from Anne Archerto to any of the speakers. What if I lack something that a good leader should possess? Should I still consider myself as a good leader?
Well, why not? Um, no one's perfect. No one brings everything to the table. If there's something if there's something a leadership characteristic that you feel you'd like to improve on or add, you can study, you can learn, you can understand that although people say people are born leaders, most leaders are trained. So leadership can be taught. It is an art, is an art form, and if there's skills that you need to brush up on, whether it be public speaking or whatever it is, providing what you lack. If you don't lack integrity, you need to have it. So if you don't have integrity, no, you shouldn't be in the leadership game. But overall, yeah, don't worry about it. If there's something that you think you're lacking, you can pick it up. In fact, these days you can just YouTube it and learn it.
Yeah. Would you like to say something, Dr. Singh?
Um, I'm going to go back to my slide, and I talked about leadership as empowerment. A good leader inspires people to have confidence in their leader. A great leader inspires people to have confidence in themselves. And I think that's quite um, powerful message here to the question. It's about um, inspiring others to have confidence in themselves makes them a great leader. And I think this person here, and as Coach has said, if you're not too sure about your own abilities as a leader, it's about training, it's about honing in, it's about developing. Develop yourself, then develop others.
Yes. Nobody's perfect. We
Nobody.
could still develop and improve ourselves. Our next question is from Roslyn Barbon. What impacts do leadership have?
Leaders can have negative and positive impacts. They can make you or break you. Leaders come in different names. They come in mentors, they become coaches, they become teachers. Leaders is one of them. Depending on your leader, depending on your coach, depending on your mentor, they will give you those qualities. A lot of the times I could go back and I've had the fortune to be able to have quite a lot of leaders who have influenced me in my life to achieve what it is. It started off with my parents, went on to my teachers, went on to my university students, it went on to my religious leaders. Impact is huge. Sometimes leaders don't know what impact they have on their subordinates, the people that follow them. Put it this way, I wouldn't be a doctor if my leader didn't help me. I wouldn't be a leader if my teachers didn't tell me what to do. I wouldn't be a leader if I was in the presence of people like Coach Noland, because it's all about communication, adjusting, and that's positive. But you've had teachers, we have leaders who can break people, brainwash them. And when we talk about good leaders, and Coach Nolan talked about negative leaders, so leaders have the impact to make you or to break you.
Would you like to add something, Coach?
Yeah, just to again chime in to say that absolutely. Looking on the negative side of this, though, think about it this way: all of us went through our elementary school days, and we can remember some of the few compliments that we got along the way, but we can also always remember the criticisms, the stinging criticisms that we receive, the embarrassing moments that we receive by not having the answer to a question when we raised our hand, or getting it wrong. And those are the things that we carry with us. And those very often are delivered by teachers who were in a leadership role at the time. So we have to take inventory as what is it that brought us to where we are today. We were impacted positively and negatively by other people. We were we leapfrogged, catapulted to our positions where we are today by the sheer momentum of I'm going to show you what I can do. That type of an attitude, simply on a rebuff. So yeah, impact is goes both ways. Thank you for that.
Okay, our next question is from Zabilullah Arab. Okay, Sir Harpal Singh, as the job market is so competitive, then which qualities should a leader have to be unique?
It's an interesting question. What quality should a leader have to be unique? First of all, he's got to be focused and determined. But also, I would use the word collaboration. Be able to use the resources that he's got in order to work on being competitive. Sometimes the job market makes us do so. Qualities, also other qualities I probably say is training, being able to know different areas and be quite um, educated in their field. Being educated and being pioneers in their field is quite important as a leader, especially in whatever field in the job market they're in. So either that's through education, by learning, and like Coach said, most nowadays everything's on YouTube and Instagram and everything else. So the information is at your fingertips. Are you going to be able to be big enough to actually use that information?
Okay, we have here our next question from Felgrace Perales Barroca. To both speakers, do you think the morally upright leaders are now endangered species?
Go on, Coach. This one's for you.
Well, I mean, they did hit that ball across the net, didn't they? So yes, 1,000%. Morality is always under threat. It's always easy not to do the right thing. It's always harder to do the right thing. So the people, the leaders who hold on to their morality, who hold on to their ethics, who hold on to their standards, who hold on to their integrity, those are the leaders who shine, but those are the leaders also who will be poked at and pinched by the rest of the wolves and the coyotes in the tribe, because at the end of the day, nobody likes a good guy. Certainly not the leaders who are not worthy of it. Just look at American politics today and tell me what do you think what's happened the last 2.5 years? It's been a cry for the high ground of morality. So yes, I do believe that morally upright leaders are an endangered species, and so that we need more of them. So we need people who are in these classes to step up and become these new leaders who have these moral and integrity characteristics to take on the mantle for the next generations. Absolutely.
That's very great. We really need good leaders nowadays. Let's see. Would you like to say something about that, Sir Dr. Singh?
We've got loads of movies out there that show how corrupt leaders can be, especially politicians, how they do it for financial growth. Are they endangered species? I think they're more endangered than most animals out there in the world. But there are some great speakers out there who will work, who do work, um, and they might be in your community. It's about finding them, working with them, because the light will shine through them. So yeah.
Okay, our next question is from Charivel Estrada. If you failed to lead your organization, what ingredients in leadership did you miss?
It's a bit hard one. If you felt you lead, it depends on what the organization is, how things. It's very a subjective question here. So without knowing what things are, what happening in an organization, it's a bit hard to say what ingredients you miss because there may be ingredients of leadership you've hit. So I can't answer that question based on the limited information provided.
Same.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to proceed to our next question from Lamberto Pilatan to both speakers. What five major qualities of a great or efficient leader do we need at the present times? Why and thank you.
So I'll take that. Integrity, competency, clarity, focus, emotional intelligence.
Okay, great. Do you agree with that, Dr.
Pre-
Singh?
yeah, it's pretty much hit everything on the head. And the only thing I'll add to that would be authentication or authenticity, being true to themselves, which is what the questions one of our previous coaches there.
Okay. To Sir Coach MJ Tolan, is leadership God gifted or learnable skill?
Well, let's start with everything is God gifted. We're here, aren't we? So when it comes down to is leadership an innate part of our birthing? In other words, do you go to a hospital and go, okay, let's see, mommy's having a baby today. Here's the girls, here's the boys, and here's the leaders. So they don't have a window for leaders. So they're either girls or boys. Now, what we do with our lives and how we assimilate our leadership qualities is by observing good leadership and bad leadership, and then how we take that as a clay and mold it within ourselves to be able to respond, interact, and deal with situations and respond to situations as they come across and people. So the final answer is in my book, Executive Powers, you'll find that leaders are trained and they can be improved. And it is a constant learning for me and for anyone else in the leadership space.
Thank you for that, sir. Our next question is from Manolita White to both speakers. Why do people vote for clowns, not a leader, as a president or as a president? Is the people's choice reflect their choice? Why do people vote for clowns, not a leader?
Sometimes they've only got two clowns to choose from and not leaders. So a lot of the times we don't have leaders as presidents in certain countries. But also leaders don't always make the right choices. So but it shows why people vote for clowns because a lot of the times they don't resonate with their feelings, they don't resonate with their opinions, they don't resonate with how and what they conduct themselves. Um, is the people's choice and reflecting their choice? Sometimes you choose two of the lesser evils. There's many choices out there where people focus on what they need to do, how they need to do. Um, but it's about creating those leaders, it's creating those presidents, it's creating those prime ministers of those countries. And if you're not creating them, if you haven't got the stability, if you haven't got the education system, you haven't got the understanding, the welfare system, you're fighting a losing battle.
From Giovanni M. Marie Alico, I think this is for both speakers. Who is your favorite leader and why? Would like to go.
I'll
Okay,
take that one.
coach. Yes.
My mom.
Yes.
My mom raised 8 boys. I was the first. They kept trying to improve on the situation. It didn't work, of course. So my mom is the pioneer for me as a leader. She nurtured all of us to help us learn responsibility, which led to entrepreneurship. Even as young children, we had always given summer jobs and chores, etc. So she gave us delegation. She gave us moral integrity. She gave us all of the characteristics we would need as leaders. And so for me, she is the example. Over to
I
you.
think I think that's the most excellent answer that I've heard tonight. Yes, that's great, sir. Dr. Singh, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Coach Nolan here and say exactly the same thing. My mother was probably my leader. She's not someone that's been written about in books, but for me, she's always had that inspiration to have confidence in me and make me confident in myself when I was down, especially when things weren't going down, the chips were going down. She was there to pick me up, and I owe a lot of gratitude to her for my success. Even if you go back to taking to me to karate, taking me to sports, going out of the way, um, even at her own expense, sometimes coming home work early to make sure I've been fed, make sure I've been there. And even now, when I've got my doctorate and helping me through my degree, helping through my education, basically helping me in the ways that no one else has. So she's the best leader for me, and it shows not she's the best leader, but she's the greater leader. And I've got, uh, I'll put my hand on heart and go out on a limb here and saying most great leaders are mums. They know what to do, and made so many sacrifices allowing their children to succeed. And they are truly are the unsung great leaders of the world.
Great answer. I myself is a mom. I hope my kids would answer the same whenever they are asked the same question. Okay, we have here from Rina Regina Gavino. Do you agree that servant leadership is what we need today?
We need more and more and more and more servant leaders. We've had enough of the authoritarian style leaders. We now need more servant leaders. Servant leaders can help others get the best out of themselves. And when people that we've used today to show you some of the people that I highlighted today, they were all servant leaders. And it's the servant leaders who have the opportunity to influence people to change the world through making changes within themselves. So, here for servant leaders. Harper?
Yeah, I got to agree with you. Leaders, when we talk about servant leaders, and you mentioned quite a lot of them, Coach, you've got people like Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, as few of those servant leaders who've inspired by actions and by perseverance. And that's what we need. We need people to believe in society and to make it better. Because without their beliefs, without their visions, it's not going to happen.
Okay, but I think servant leaders is hard to find nowadays. They are very difficult to find now. In our next question is from Rodolfo Alemania. In electing our leaders, sirs, do you believe in the principles of Vox Populi, Vox Dei? What's that? Yes or no? Why? And thanks.
Harper?
Coach, I'll let you just. I'm not too sure the phenomenon here, so I'm going to pass on this question if it's all right.
Okay. So, I'm trying to just work out how it's written here. I guess we're going with the principle of going with what's popular or what's under the realm of God. Is that really the translation? Is Rodolfo available?
Rodolfo, okay. But I think that completes our Q&A part of the program for
Awesome.
tonight, for today. We're just passing that. To our two speakers, thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us. Thank you for all the marvelous responses that you have given to our audience. Um, we hope to see you again here in IGP. Dr. Singh and Coach Samjay, we hope to see you again here in IGP.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much for all the knowledge that you have shared tonight, sir. And do you have any parting words for our audience before you,
Well,
before we end?
from on my side, I can only say uh, good luck in the future. Particularly if your audience looks like there's a lot of people from the Philippines. Is that right? In the audience tonight?
It's all over the world, sir.
Okay.
But
So for all of you who attended our webinar today, thank you for attending. Keep in mind that there are tons of your friends who did not attend. They are not interested in self improvement as much as you are. And so I give you a big thunderous applause from my side for having the strength, the courage, the conviction, the intuition, the self discipline to take a step to improve yourself, not only to attend this webinar, but others that follow in the Institute of Global Professionals to support the number one person in your life should be yourself. And if these opportunities are given to you freely and you seize them freely, then you've gone from being a normal person to somebody really smart. So, leveraging your position, continue with your leadership education, continue with your self development, and who knows, you might even be on a panel like this, myself or Dr. Harple here. So, congratulations to all of you and best of luck. And thank you, Dr. Caroline McCaka, because it was you who nominated me to be on this panel. And I do appreciate your work, and my heart goes out to everything that you do with Loney around the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. Thanks, Coach MJ. Dr. Singh, how about you? Would you like to say something?
The start, or the great start, is the art of beginning, but the greater of art is that of the ending. Today we've planted a seed. We've had some valuable notions from Coach Nolan and myself and by yourself, planting the seed here. Let's not see this seed wither away. Let's plant it with water, feed it with sunshine, and grow. And that's what true leaders are, taking the seed, taking a sapling, and growing into a fantastic tree, plant, or a flower. Thank you.
That's great. Marvelous. Doc, thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, Coach MJ. Thank you so much for your time. Okay,
Thank
to
you.
all the participants, thank you, sirs. Okay, to all the participants who actively participated in our Q&A part, thank you so much for all the questions. I hope you have gained understanding of today's webinar. And to our two speakers, thank you for sharing your knowledge to us tonight. Thank you for all the marvelous responses that you have given our audience. We hope that to see you again here in our upcoming webinars. So, for our reminder, don't forget to collect your e-certificate after the session. You may collect it from our website, that is www.eduigp.com, or through the link mentioned below. This morning, they were not able to give the code, but today I will be giving you the code for this morning's webinar. That is IGP 4862, and the title is about learners' need and teaching strategies. Okay, shall we have the code for tonight? Okay. Today's date is January 30, and our program name is The Impact of Good Leaders in the Society. Our code for today is IGP 3861. Without a code, no one is eligible for the certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime. And remember, without an account in our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functional. Remember, our code for today is 3861, and the title is The Impact of a Good Leader in the Society. Okay, before we part goodbye, before we part goodbye, I'd like to thank all of you for being so patient and attentive throughout the session. I am very much grateful to all of you from the bottom of my heart for taking part in today's session. I am confident and positive that you have gained something new in this webinar. The new things that you have picked up and learned today will be surely helpful in your life as well as in your career growth. Participants and viewers, I would like to request all of you to please leave a review of today's session and please recommend our page to your friends and to your community. That is, if you learn something from us or if we have been helpful to you. Also, may I request all the participants and viewers to spread the news about IGP's free international webinar to your friends and to your colleagues. Our code for today again is 3861 and the date is January 30. The title is The Impact of a Good Leader in the Society. To collect your e-certificate, please go to www.eduigp.com or through the link mentioned below. Make sure to log in to your account if you are just new. Please create an account first, then log in using your account. Click free webinars. Then choose today's webinar date and title. Click enroll now. Then after that, you have to enter the code that is IGP3861. Then click the tab, get your certificate. Once you click that tab or the get your certificate tab, your e-certificate will be auto downloaded to your device. Remember, our code for today is IGP3861. At this point, I would like to congratulate the whole Team IGP for another successful live session. That's all for today. Keep in mind, all things work together for good to those who love God. We hope to see you all again in our upcoming webinars. And again, I would like to remind everyone, our code for this morning's webinar is IGP 4862. Okay, this morning's code is IGP 4862. Well, face the pandemic with smiles, sunshine, warmth, and positivity. Again, this has been your host, Marbeth, from the Philippines, signing off. To God be the glory. Bye.